So, Valerie, you've reported on many occasions on immigration, and how would you say US policies compare to those of Europe?
Well, I think the biggest difference is, of course, that the United States is one country and the European Union is 28 sovereign nations. So we saw, for example, in my report in Houston, when a governor like the Texas governor tried to say they didn't want to take in any more Syrian refugees, they can't, simply because the Refugee Act is a federal act and it's decided in Washington. Whereas with the European Union, we saw with the refugee crisis that they tried to impose quotas on the EU, which didn't work, and even when they asked EU countries, they could decide whether, yes or no, they wanted to take in refugees. But I do think that both in the US and the EU, immigration laws are getting tougher. For the US, ever since 9/11, there's been a drive to make immigration laws tougher, and the EU, with the Eurozone crisis, it seems now that on both sides of the Atlantic, there's a call to build walls.
Both parties, Republican and Democrat, have said that the American model for immigration must be revamped. But what are they actually proposing?
Well, Donald Trump, we can sum it up in one word: wall. Even he said, he's taking the hardline position. He wants to build a wall between Mexico and the United States. But he's also said that in the States we have 11 million illegal immigrants. He says he's going to deport them all. But he will let the good ones back in once they go through tests and all that security checks. Hillary Clinton, she's going for the more compassionate approach. She's saying that within the first 100 days, she's going to propose a complete reform on the Immigration Act, which will include, for undocumented workers, if they prove that they can pay their back taxes, that they will have an easier path towards becoming citizens. But, in the past, we've seen that both Republican and Democratic presidents, Bush and Obama, have failed in the reforms.
Valerie, ultimately, isn't there a risk that all the emphasis put on immigration might bounce back on the candidates? In other terms, could it be counter-effective for them?
Well, I think we're talking about one candidate in particular, Donald Trump, who hasn't exactly made a lot of friends with his comments about Muslims, Mexicans, and even women. But now that we're getting closer to the November election date, Trump is starting to tone down his message. He's saying, for example, that he's not anti-Muslim, he's just anti-terror, that he has a lot of Hispanic friends and that he knows they're hardworking. So we'll see. The race is getting tighter. The latest opinion polls show that. And it's going to be the undecided vote, which is quite large. It's going to be the undecided vote, I think, which will decide which way the elections turn out.
We'll see. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.